The fights between Ryan and Taehyung grew worse with each passing day. What had once been a love so warm and safe now felt like a battlefield. With harsh words and cold silences as their weapons, each argument cut deeper, leaving scars on both their hearts. Taehyung's once soft eyes were now filled with frustration whenever he looked at her. And Ryan, who had always found comfort in his presence, now felt suffocated by the tension that lingered between them. I can't believe you're bringing this up again. Taehyung snapped one night as Ryan confronted him about his behavior. Because you still don't see the problem, she yelled, tears streaming down her face. You keep prioritizing everything and everyone else over me, Taehyung. How am I supposed to feel? Maybe if you stopped nagging me all the time, I'd actually want to be around you, he shot back. Ryan recoiled as if he'd struck her. The room fell into heavy silence, the weight of his words crushing her spirit. She turned away, her voice barely above a whisper. Months passed. Despite everything, Ryan couldn't bring herself to leave Taehyung. But the fights continued, each one chipping away at her heart. During this time, she kept running into Jungkook. At first, it felt like coincidence, bumping into him at a coffee shop, seeing him at the park, or crossing paths at the bookstore. But as months went by, their encounters became a regular occurrence. Jungkook became her safe space, a shoulder to cry on when the weight of her relationship became too much to bear. He never judged her, never pushed her to make decisions she wasn't ready for. Instead, he simply listened, offering quiet comfort and understanding. You deserve to be happy, Ryan, he told her one evening as they sat on a park bench. You don't have to keep hurting yourself for someone who doesn't see your worth. But Ryan shook her head, her voice trembling with desperation. Don't lose yourself trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. One night, Ryan was invited to a friend's birthday party at a restaurant named Moonlight Grill. Ryan adjusted her dress nervously as she stepped out of the cab, clutching the gift she'd bought for her friend's party. She glanced at the sign outside the building, Moonlight Bar and Grill. This had to be the place, she thought. The venue her friend had mentioned shared the same name, so she walked inside confidently. The atmosphere was lively, filled with laughter and clinking glasses. Ryan scanned the crowd. Searching for a familiar face among the clusters of people seated around the dimly lit bar. This was not what she expected. She frowned, looking at the drunk people. It was then she realized she came to the wrong place. Vine face palmed herself, but as she was about to leave, something caught her eye. There he was. Her heart dropped and her breath caught in her throat as she saw him seated at a table. Her world tilted. She felt her chest tighten, anger and heartbreak bubbling to the surface. For a moment, she wanted to believe it wasn't real, that it was some horrible mistake. She couldn't stop herself, walking straight to the table, her heels clicking loudly against the floor. Wine ignored the curious stares from the other patrons. Her presence went unnoticed until she was standing right in front of them. She said, her voice ice cold. He froze, his head snapping up to meet her eyes. His face paled as recognition dawned on him. The woman glanced between them, confusion written all over her face. Wine laughed bitterly, her eyes never leaving Taehyung. The woman's eyes widened and she quickly stood up. He scrambled to stand, reaching out to her, but before he could say another word, Vian's hand connected with his cheek in a sharp slap that echoed through the bar. The sound silenced the room, all eyes now on them. Explain, she hissed, her voice shaking. You think there's anything you can say to fix this? Don't insult me by lying, she interrupted, her eyes brimming with tears. I saw it with my own eyes, and you know what? I am done. I'm done being the fool who keeps hoping you'll change. The weight of her words hung in the air as Taehyung stood there speechless. The other patrons murmured among themselves, the tension in the room palpable. Vine turned on her heel and stormed out, her heart pounding in her chest. She didn't stop until she was outside, the cool night air hitting her like a slap. She tried to steady her breathing, but the sobs came anyway, racking her body as she leaned against the street lamp. The aftermath, the following days were blur of pain and self-reflection. Vine had given so much of herself to Taehyung, holding on to a love that had been slowly destroying her. And now, standing in the ruins of what they once had, she realized how much of herself she had lost along the way. Jungkook found her sitting by the beach one night. Without a word, he sat beside her, offering the quiet comfort she needed. She said after a long silence, her voice barely above a whisper. Jungkook's eyes widened, but he didn't interrupt. Jungkook placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, his voice soft but firm. You're not stupid, Ryan. You loved someone who didn't deserve you. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And now you get to choose yourself. You get to heal. She looked at him, her eyes searching his for reassurance. How? How do I heal from this? One step at a time, he said simply, and you don't have to do it alone. What's the point of healing, anyways? I don't think I can handle the trauma. She looked away and heard him sigh. Ryan, you're not healing to be able to handle trauma, pain, anxiety, or depression. You're used to those. You're healing to be able to handle joy, to accept happiness back in your life. Over the weeks that followed, Ryan focused on rebuilding herself. It wasn't easy. The memories of Taehyung still haunted her, but there were nights when the pain felt unbearable. But with Jungkook's support and her own determination, she began to rediscover who she was. She learned to let go of the anger, the guilt, and what ifs. She realized that sometimes the hardest thing to do is walk away from someone you love. But in doing so, she was giving herself the chance to find peace and happiness. And for the first time in a long time, she felt free. If your heart hurts a little after letting go of someone or something, that's okay. It just means that your feelings were genuine. No one likes ants and no one likes pain. But sometimes we have to put things that were once good to an end after it comes to our own well being. Not every new beginning is meant to last forever, and not every person that walks into your life is meant to stay. With that being said, this is the end of the series. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what I should make next. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram only at lustrousffs. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye.